Eason, and today I'm in the bodybuilding.com kitchen and I'm showing you how to make my chocolate peanut butter protein crisp. In a previous video, I showed you how to make my honey almond protein crisp, but now we're gonna use two of my other favorite ingredients, chocolate and peanut butter. So let's get started. The ingredients for our chocolate peanut butter protein crisp are 3 cups of a crispy brown rice. We've got 1 cup of whole oats, a scoop of a vanilla whey protein powder. We've got some crushed almonds, some peanut butter right here, some cocoa, and some brown sugar, and somewhere around here I've got my honey. That's all you're gonna need, so let's get started. To start, I've put 3 cups of the crispy brown rice, and just so you see, you can have a reference. This is the crispy brown rice I used. It's gluten-free, organic. It's got very few ingredients in it. It does have a little bit of sugar. It's natural sugar. It's got organic molasses and evaporated cane juice, but it's 2 grams per serving. There's 3/4 of a cup in a serving. So you've got less than 5 grams of natural sugar in the whole entire recipe, so not bad. It makes 18 servings. So we've started with that, put that in, and then I've got my cup of whole oats. I'm gonna put that on top. And then I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of crushed almonds. So if you don't have crushed almonds, you can actually just take your own almonds, scoop out 1/4 of a cup of those and just beat them with a rolling pin. You can use the back of a pot, whatever you have. And then on top of that, I'm gonna add 1 scoop of vanilla whey protein powder. I kind of sprinkle that on top, spread it around a bit. Now, do not mix this up. We don't wanna make all of the protein powder settle to the bottom. So I just give it a gentle shake and then I'm gonna set it to the side. So now I'm gonna switch out to a smaller bowl, and in this bowl, now make sure you use a glass bowl. That's important because we're gonna need to put it in the microwave. So we're gonna start out with our main ingredient, which is an all-natural, unsalted, creamy peanut butter. You can use chunky if you like, but the chunky actually doesn't seem to mix up quite as well. But I have made it, and it tastes really good too, so it's just your preference. There's a lot of natural oil that comes up from the peanuts, so we're gonna pour a little bit of that off. Don't pour it all out though, because you'll really have a hard time mixing it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix it. See, it's already kind of hard. Let's see. I have to get the muscle in there. Mix it up a bit. All right, and so we're gonna actually take 3/4 of a cup of a creamy all-natural peanut butter and add that to the bowl. So I like to use my little smaller scoop. I think it's more manageable, but you can use a measuring cup and just measure to 3/4. So I'm going to scoop it out and put it in there. This one looks slightly chunky, slightly smooth, so I think I needed to maybe stir it up a little longer. Sometimes I've been known to heat it up a little bit in the microwave just to get it going, but let's see. So we've got our 1/4 going. Do some more. And you don't have to be super careful with the measurements in this actual recipe. You can add a little, take away a little if you want. I've actually figured out the ratios just to have just enough so you don't have to, they don't end up too dry, because we want them to stick together a bit. We're trying to make that crispy rice and everything kind of all come together so that when we freeze it, it actually makes this crunchy, crispy kind of granola. I've almost got it all out. This one's more challenging than the almond butter. Now, with that said, you could use the almond butter if you'd like, and you can actually add extracts. So if you wanted to make, say, chocolate with like a little bit of orange, hint of orange or something, or there's coconut extracts, there's bananas, maybe chocolate peanut butter banana might be pretty good. You could actually use little pieces of banana if you'd like to, but they will get a little mushy, and that'll make it not stick together as well, so use that sparingly, or do the dried bananas. But again, that's added sugar, so just be careful about how much you're using, because we're already using quite a bit of natural sugar. Next thing I'm gonna add is gonna be my honey. So we're gonna do 1/2 cup of honey. So since this is my 1/4 measuring scoop, I'm gonna do 2 of these. So we've got 1, and my little spatula. Now, honey is really, really, really good for you. I'm often asked about honey versus agave and if agave is better. I personally prefer honey. I think there's so many health benefits to it with the antioxidants, and it's good for your skin. It's a good antibacterial. There's just so many great things about it that I'd prefer to use it, because agave, in truth, it'll still spike your blood sugar. So be careful, because a lot of times some of those labels can be misleading and make you think that that's a better choice, but it actually still pretty much does the same thing. So, all right, we've got those two ingredients in the bowl, and now I'm gonna add a half a cup actually of Xylitol brown sugar blend. Xylitol is a sweetener. It comes from like raspberries, plums. It's a natural fructose sweetener, and it's actually a sugar alcohol. It does not have quite as many calories as regular sugar, but it still will have a slight insulin spike. It's just a little bit better for you. It is organic, it is natural. They actually use it in toothpaste because it's good for our teeth. So I'm gonna dump that in, and the brown sugar part adds a little bit of a molasses flavor to what we're making. If you really prefer, you can look for something like organic succotash, which it has 15 calories per teaspoon. So you're adding some calories, but it's less sweetness as far as like less grams of sugar, but it also tastes less sweet. So you might end up having to use more. So for me, I just like to use this and just kind of eat it sparingly. So, all right, and to that, I wanna add, let's see, we've got vanilla. I'm gonna do a teaspoon of vanilla. And then I'm going to add my chocolate. Now, the chocolate, the preference is up to you. You can add a couple tablespoons, you can add a lot of tablespoons, you can use dark chocolate, Hershey's chocolate, whatever kind you'd like to use. Some people like cacao, you could use anything you'd like. So I'm gonna open that up. Let's do 3 of those. I prefer for the recipe to use dark chocolate. So if you can find the unsweetened dark chocolate, I think that's probably your best bet. So I'm gonna stir this up just a little bit, just to get the dry stuff incorporated a little. And then we wanna stick this in the microwave for just about 30 seconds, just to kind of soften it up so I can stir it all together. Stir this together a bit. You want to get all of the dry ingredients incorporated into the wet. So it's doing pretty well. You might have to stick it in there for maybe another 30 seconds to really get it pliable. I think I'm going to do that with, when you add all of the cocoa and everything, it's not quite as liquefied as one of the other recipes that we made, like the honey almond protein crisp. So let me stick that back in for 30 more seconds. Don't do the minute all at once, because you could burn your chocolate, and we definitely don't want that. Stir this together a bit. Yeah, that's much easier to stir. So now that I've got it all out, I'm gonna go ahead and pour that on top of our dry ingredients. There we go, now it's pouring. It smells really good. I could probably just eat the chocolate and peanut butter, but let's see. This one I don't share with my dog because she can't have chocolate. So I'm gonna fold the dry ingredients over the top. I like to do the little folding technique because it keeps my spatula from getting too sticky right off the bat. All right, and it doesn't look like much. You have to really work it to start getting all the wet ingredients incorporated into the dry. So it might take a little bit of work, a little bit of muscle. So I think I've almost got it all done. If you can see the protein powder still in there, you gotta probably keep stirring, which I can, so I'm gonna keep going a second. It might look a bit dry, and you don't want to add a lot of liquid though, because if you do, it'll end up getting too soft and fall apart. So I think it looks pretty good. Now, we end up putting this in the freezer so it can get hard, but do you know that after a while, if you take it out of the freezer, it's gonna get softer and softer, and it still tastes awesome. It's just not quite the same texture because, of course, the peanut butter and everything softens up a little bit. So I think we're good. And I'm gonna show you first and foremost how I make like one of the shapes. I brought just a little circle because that's a pretty easy one to demonstrate with. And I brought a pan. You don't need to prep your pan or do anything. You can just use your little circle, and then you just really take a little bit in your fingers, push it down in there. Takes a little bit of time, but it's really pretty simple. And then you just want to firmly pack it in there. And as you push it all in, then just gently kind of take the little loop off. You can see how it turns out. It turns out like that, and when it hardens up, it stays that way, and it's really nice. You can pack them up, you could stack them together and wrap them up if you'd like. So let me do another one of those. You can maybe alternate flavors, do one kind of crisp and then do a different kind of flavored crisp. All right, so I packed that in there. Wiggle it a little bit, and there we go. So I would fill up the rest of the tray and then stick that in the freezer. And I'm gonna finish working on these. Whatever I have left, I'm gonna put in here, and then I'll come right back. Okay, the chocolate peanut butter protein crisp has been in the freezer for about an hour, so we're gonna go take that out. They look great. I took out the ones that we cut into shapes, so now they're nice and frozen and solid. So if you are making this and you actually keep it in one big dish, it makes about a serving of 18. For a single serving of these, you're looking at 153 calories, about 7 grams of fat, 21.5 grams of carbohydrates, and about 5.6 grams of protein. So I hope you like them. I hope you get creative and have a little bit of fun with it. And please come back and visit bodybuilding.com for more information and content like this.